friends, so I'm sure you may have come across or even heard the term net worth, but may be confused on what it actually is, how you calculate it, and if it even matters. And if you haven't even heard of this and were just curious, first off, know that it's a completely common question and that it's actually a fairly simple concept to understand. And I'm hoping that by the end of this video, you'll not only understand this concept, but also know how to calculate it for yourself. So with that in mind, let's talk about it. Hello friends, and welcome back to this week's money video. If you are new here, hi, my name's Yvonne and I make new videos every week, mostly talking about how to save money, make money and grow your money. And that's because I'm on a personal journey to financial freedom and I'm sharing all the tips, tricks and hacks that are helping me along the way in the hopes that they can help you too. So if you are interested in that type of content, then please make sure to hit that like button. Consider joining our community. It's absolutely free by hitting that subscribe button. And of course, share this video with someone who wants to make a positive impact on their finances. So what is net worth and why is it so important? Well, before we even get into that, let me start by stating what net worth is not. Net worth is not your salary. It's not the amount of money you make, even though that is a factor and we'll see how it can affect it a little bit later on. And it's not a measurement of your self-worth either. Your net worth can actually be thought of as a snapshot of your overall financial health at a given moment in time. And it can be one of the most important financial calculations that you can do. So it's actually worth taking the time to understand it, how to calculate it, because it can help you identify areas where you may actually be spending a little bit too much money or your money management is not quite on point. It's also an important thing to track over time because it's a great way to measure how your wealth is moving over time. Is it moving in the right direction? Are you doing the wrong things? Where are there areas where you need to focus your attention? And so as you track it over time, your net worth will illustrate to you the progress you're making towards meeting your wealth goals. So let's talk about how it's calculated next. Basically, there are two terms that measure it: your assets and your liabilities. And your net worth figure is calculated by deducting the value of your liabilities from your assets. Or you can think of net worth as everything you own less all that you owe. So if your assets exceed your liabilities, you have a positive net worth. And if your liabilities exceed your assets, then you have a negative net worth. And what that simply means is that if your net worth is negative, you don't have enough money to pay off all your debt. So when it comes to calculating your net worth, you really need to take an inventory of everything you own as well as everything you own. So all your outstanding debt. But I can already hear you out there.
But Yvonne, I get that, but what about if something you owe is also something you own?
Well, actually, that's a really good point. So let's look at what would be categorized as an asset and what would be categorized as a liability. Then we can think about how we can use them to get an overall net worth figure. So let's start off in the first instance with assets. So like I mentioned earlier on, your assets are everything you own. And your net worth can be made of many different assets. But in essence, it means all the cash you have in the bank, the value of your retirement pots, your investments, your house value, the resale value of your car, or any valuable thing you own that can basically be converted into cash, like jewelry, vintage plates, and so forth. On the other hand, your liabilities are all the things you owe. And this can include any and all forms of debts you currently hold. So things like your mortgage, student loans, credit card debt, car finance, personal loans, store cards, or even money that you owe to friends and family. And so luckily, how you calculate your net worth is quite simple. All you have to do is subtract your liabilities from your assets. And it's actually much simpler than it sounds. So what I would recommend is that you list everything you own, i.e. your assets, and for each asset, calculate how much it's worth. You might have a definite number, or in some instances, you can have an estimate as well. For example, if it needs to be valued and so forth, right? Then you do the same thing for your liabilities. You're going to list out all your debt, and then once you have a number for both your assets and your liabilities, all you have to do is simply deduct your total liabilities from your total assets, and voila! you should have a figure that is your net worth. So let's take an example. Let's say you have just sold your house for £400,000 and you have about 20,000 in savings, 10,000 in investments. So your total assets are about £430,000. But you still have an outstanding mortgage of £200,000 and a credit card balance of £50,000 and a personal loan of £10,000 that you are trying to pay off. So in essence, you have liabilities worth £260,000. And so your net worth would be your asset minus your liabilities. That is 430 minus 260,000, which would give you a net worth of 170,000. Which is a positive net worth because you have more in your assets than you do in your liabilities. That is, you own more than you owe. And the way I like to think about my net worth is this. If you had to sell everything you own tomorrow and pay back all the debt you owe, then the money you would have in your pocket, that would be your net worth. And so just like that, you can use a simple yet very useful measure to understand your overall financial health. And if you don't own much and you're in debt, it could be a sign that you need to pay more attention to your finances and think about how you can manage your money a little bit better. And the reason for that is because having a positive net worth is something you should be working towards. And the higher the number, the better position and the healthier financially you are. Now, I have to be honest and say, if you do this calculation and you find that your net worth is negative, which is what happened with me, it means that you don't have enough money to pay off all your debts, but it's not something to be worried about. In fact, you will find that there are many people at all stages of life who may find themselves with a negative net worth. And I know that it can be a scary feeling to see that number, but it could be the result of, for example, substantial student loan debt from your uni days and the fact you've just started your career, so you haven't worked long enough to build a number of assets. It could also be just a signal that you just haven't thought about your financial health and could have honestly made some money mistakes in the past that have impacted the number of liabilities you now have. Now, it's worth noting that your net worth is not a stagnant number, that once you've calculated, it stays with you. It can change year on year, month on month, day on day, because it's just a snapshot at that point in time when you're doing the calculation. So you might find that as you save more money, even if you don't pay off your debt, your net worth will increase. And the opposite is also true. If you start paying off your debt and your assets remain the same, your savings account don't change, your investments don't change, then your net worth will also increase. So as you change the number of assets and liabilities you have, it will increase and decrease your net worth. So there's real value in calculating and tracking your net worth regularly to see whether you're making progress in improving or damaging your overall financial health. So like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, another important thing to note is that your income is not part of your net worth calculation. And so what that means is that someone can bring home a massive paycheck but have a low net worth, and someone can have a small income but have a high net worth. And why is that? Well, income and net worth are actually not the same, and a lot of people confuse them. Your income is just what you earn each year, but your net worth is what you're actually worth financially at any given moment in time. So let's have a look at an example. Two friends have very different incomes, but one is wealthier than the other. So let's say person A earns £50,000 a year, their assets are worth £200,000, they have liabilities of £100,000. That would mean their net worth is £100,000. On the other hand, person B earns £300,000 a year. They also have £200,000 in assets, but they have £150,000 in liabilities. So that would make their net worth only £50,000. So although person B is earning 6 times as much as person A has a greater net worth and is indeed the wealthier person. So it's important to know that a person can bring home a big paycheck but have a low net worth if they spend most of their money picking up liabilities and not acquiring assets. So I know what you're thinking.
Yvonne, what is a good net worth figure then?
Well, there's no right answer to this. It all depends on your personal circumstances. There isn't some magical number that everyone should work towards. But generally speaking, a good rule of thumb is to work on growing your net worth rather than shrinking it over time. Now, your net worth will be impacted by a multitude of factors, especially your spending habits. And when you do your calculation, you may find that you have a negative net worth. And like I said, it's important to make sure that you do not panic. Having a net negative net worth is pretty common and it can happen at any stage in life. The most important thing is to actually do the calculation and find ways to turn that negative into a positive as quickly as you can. And that could be making an effort to aggressively pay down your debts as fast as possible, because statistics show that for many people, a negative net worth is most likely going to be driven by debt. And so the easiest solution is to aggressively pay down your debt. That is to reduce your liabilities. And even though it might be a slow process, remember it's part of the long game. Make the effort to pay off what you can afford and reduce your debts. Another thing you can do is to carefully think about how you spend your money. Some assets like collectibles and property can grow in value over time, but items like clothing, furniture, they tend to go down in value really quickly. Sure, you need to have some disposable goods, but try to limit how much money you spend on these items and think about how much of your money is going towards real valuable assets. And then of course, consider investing. Whether it's opening an account or learning how to buy and sell shares, investing is one of the ways that can really help you grow your assets over time. Spend time researching your options, and of course, always seek professional financial advice if you don't know where to start. Remember that every investment carries some sort of risk, but I do have some videos that you can check out if you want to learn how I'm doing my investments and how they're working to boost my net worth. And then finally, always consider boosting your income. We've learned that income isn't the same as net worth, but that doesn't mean it's completely irrelevant. Remember, the more you earn, the more you can put towards building your assets and reducing your debts. So it's actually worth considering getting a side hustle or finding a way to make money online and then using that cash to grow your assets, pay down your liabilities, or even do both at the same time. So I really hope today you've learned what net worth is and why it's actually so important. Remember that your net worth is just a calculation that offers a useful snapshot of your financial health at a given point in time. Please don't be discouraged if your net worth is low or negative for now. It just means that there's more work to do, and now you have the opportunity to do the work. If you need help calculating your net worth, why not check out my next video where I'll be sharing how I actually calculate my net worth and revealing my net worth figure as well. Please be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and consider subscribing to my channel. It's absolutely free and you don't miss an upload. Also, share this video with someone who's looking to make some positive impact on their finances. Actually, someone who needs to make a positive impact on their finances. Don't forget to check out these videos, which will show you all the financial tips that I'm currently implementing in my life that have saved me thousands and thousands of pounds. Thank you so much for your support, and I will see you in the comments down below. And of course, I will see you in the next video. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.